Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
I have with me a man that I totally respect, a man who is not afraid to tell the truth, a good man. He is an investigative journalist and author of White Girl Bleed a Lot. White Girl Bleed a Lot. He's been with me many times over the years. He's also written a book, Knockout Games, A Lie. Oh, hell no. Hell no. And he's here to talk about his brand new book, Don't Make the Black Kids Angry. The host of Black Victimization and How We Enable It. Colin, good morning, sir. Welcome back to the show.
Oh, great to be here.
I'm glad to have you here. A very interesting book. Let me first ask, do you think that it's a good idea to have cameras on cops?
You know, I've been asking a lot of cops that. My initial reaction is, oh, absolutely, because I believe 99% of the encounters between cops and civilians, the cops are polite and doing a good job. So, yeah, the cops I ask they're a little hesitant. They're a little worried about, there's a little bit of their downtime. But, yeah, absolutely.
At first, I thought it was a good idea, but now that I'm looking at the reaction of especially the black folks, once they see what's going on, it doesn't seem to be proven anything in that the cops are not after black people because they're black, but they're after these criminals to keep them away from the good folks. And it seemed to be encouraging the anger in most black people rather than causing them to overcome the anger and trust.
I understand what you just said, and I understand that, you see some people kind of acting up for the camera. But so it is a trade-off. I mean, the cameras are going to save the cops sometimes. The cameras are going to encourage some misbehavior the other times. So, but I am a little surprised we haven't heard more from the cops about it one way or the other.
Yeah. By chance, were you able to catch my interview on Sean Hannity's TV show?
Absolutely. I loved it. You're a bad man. Someday, I hope somebody walks off the air when I'm standing up for the Constitution. I mean, how can somebody do that? You know what? That's a sign. Really, isn't it a sign of how far down the rabbit hole we are? How insane the whole topic of race is?
Absolutely.
When you can't even go on a TV show and say, I think I'll wait for the trial before we hang the guy.
And this is an attorney I was debating. Leo Terrell is a lawyer. You would think that he would have more respect for the law.
And I was surprised it was him. I mean, he's not. I've seen him many times on Sean's show. He's not a bad guy.
No.
But I tell you something, Jesse, and you know this better than anybody in this country. When you start talking about race, everything gets insane very quickly.
Yeah. You're absolutely right about that. I was surprised that Leo Terrell walked off the set. I've debated him at different events. I've been on different shows with him, and he's always threatened to walk off. And I didn't expect him to actually get up and leave on this. He's such a coward.
Yeah, why doesn't he just stick around and prove you're wrong?
That's right.
If somebody says something that's wrong, it's the easiest thing in the world to show.
Yeah.
2 plus 2 does not equal 5. I can pretty much show that.
That's right. That's for sure. Your brand new book, Don't Make the Black Kids Angry, you went and just gather over the years or a period of time black violence across the country. It's a very interesting book to read. And I would think that once a person, never mind the color, read this book, they will start to think about what's happening, take it more seriously, and try to do something to end this black violence. What do you think?
Yeah, the point of the book is that when you're done reading it, you don't come up with any big causes or solutions, but you just cannot deny the existence of this problem of black mob violence and black on white crime, black on gay, black on women, black on old, black on young. I think the point of the book is to say there's something really wrong going on here, people, and there are way too many people that are way too invested in ignoring it, denying it, condoning it, excusing it, even lying about it.
Do you? I personally believe black violence have gotten worse. Black on white violence have gotten worse over the last 6 years or so because the president of the United States of America has created an environment by validating angry blacks who believe that America is a racist society, and especially the young. It seems as though it's gotten worse under him because he has created that environment.
Well, I used to kind of wonder if that was true anymore, but I don't wonder that. That's absolutely the truth. I mean, the president, one of the reasons I wrote the book is I'm absolutely convinced most people are not aware of how much the president and everyone who works for them looks at the world through a racial lens.
Yeah.
Everything to them is about race.
Yep.
School, the EPA, Department of Labor, forget Department of Justice, the president himself. If we listen to him, which I do, I take him seriously, he'll tell us all the time that white racism is everywhere.
Yes.
He'll tell us that black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything. And, like, just for example, yesterday I posted a video of a whole bunch of black people attacking a black guy in a gas station because he walked a white woman to her car to protect her. This is on video.
Wow.
And this is in Memphis. And Memphis, lots and lots of bad stuff in Memphis, all on video. I just don't remember seeing any of this stuff on video, prior to 6 years ago.
Yeah, I don't remember either. And speaking of Memphis, I don't know if you know this, and this is just me, the folks, not all blacks, of course, in Memphis, but most of them don't even know that Martin Luther King Jr. is dead and that the civil rights movement is over and black people are free. They haven't heard about it.
Well, I'll post that on my YouTube channel later on today. Maybe that'll help them out.
How is this book, your brand new book, Don't Make the Black Kids Angry, different from your White Girl Bleed a Lot?
Well, in two ways. One, it's all new material, all recent stuff. And two, so it's all about black mob violence and denial all over the country, from Louisville, Virginia Beach, Rochester. But I also do one other thing in this book that I didn't do much of in White Girl Bleed a Lot. I talk about how racial resentment and racial hostility, black on white, is now mainstream, how it's taught in schools, how we hear it from pulpits. And I don't think a lot of people are aware. For example, there's a guy named Glenn Singleton. He has a huge company. They go around the country teaching teachers about how white racism is responsible for any disparity between white people and black people. And if they don't admit it, they pretty much won't be able to teach in that school anymore. Wow,
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, the hero Glenn Singleton. It's all over the book. It's so. So I got an email the other day from a teacher in San Francisco. I get letters from teachers now because they went through this training.
Yeah.
And they say, listen, here's how you go through it. You sit there and shut up. You don't deny anything.
Amazing.
Like I got a letter from San Francisco yesterday where the teacher said, yeah, I went through it. We had to put our heads down on the desk for 30 minutes and contemplate what our ancestors did to black people through slavery.
You say that black violence is getting worse. What I want to know, worse than how long ago? 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10, 20 years ago? Worse than when?
That's a good question, and I don't have a good answer for it. Because one thing I didn't, the crime numbers, there's my favorite chapter in the book is showing how all over the country, police departments are cooking the books on crime numbers. Whether it's Chicago, New Orleans, New York, Baltimore, lots and lots of crime not showing up on the books. So, the crime numbers are really, really bad, black crime versus white crime. But as bad as it is, it's even worse because there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get reported. Just look yesterday in the headlines. This is a good example. Yesterday, the main witness against Suge Knight said, "I'm not testifying. I don't want to put him in jail."
Yeah.
And this whole idea of witness intimidation is an enormous thing that's really depressing black crime rates.
I know, and that guy also said he's not a snitch. And so in the black community, they've been taught not to snitch on each other, which is just making things worse as well.
Yeah, and there's something called, in the book I talk about something called a Bronx jury. That's where a jury of black people, they tend not to vote to convict black defendants.
Yes, sir.
Lots of studies on this, big stories all over the country on this.
We saw that with the O.J. Simpson trial.
That was probably, the Bronx jury writ large right there.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know what's going to happen because white Americans are afraid of being, telling the truth about what's really going on with black Americans. And black Americans, not all, but most, hate white folks so much that they're not going to be honest about it because they want revenge. How will we end this?
Well, here's what I see. Here's the green shoot I see happening. I see more and more people learning how to talk about race without being angry, without being racist. And I see more people talking about it without being apologetic. More people are going, "Hey, why is that? Why did 1,000 Asian people get beat up by black people over a 3-year period in Rochester the minute recent immigrants, the reason they stepped off the plane? What the heck is going on?" So a lot of people are really getting impatient with the secrecy surrounding the racial violence, and I will tell you, I just see it everywhere. So I can't say how big this movement is, but I do know that people, when they listen to you, when they see you on TV, they do feel that a little bit empowered that they can say, "Yeah, something really bad's happening." And guess what? Something really bad might have happened to me either this week or a couple of years ago. And I'm going to start talking about it, and that's what's going on now.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I've been saying for the last 25 years that white Americans need to start speaking up about this and standing up for themselves, because by trying to be nice or being afraid is only bringing out the worst in those blacks who are angry and hate them. When you're a coward, you bring out the worst of your enemies. And I want white Americans to start speaking up before they get so fed up and angry that they come out fighting in the wrong way. And then we have a race war and the government lock us all down. So I'm glad to hear that people are starting to speak up against this.
Well, the thing, Jesse, now we have so many tools now we didn't have before, mostly video. There is so much video out there that people are flocking to YouTube to see. And each video, it gets a little rough and tumble on YouTube, but people are just looking at it and going, "What the hey is this? Why, like yesterday in Memphis, there was 100 black people at this gas station surrounding this guy, beating him, punching him, kicking him. The reporter is sitting there telling the story, and she calls the rioters children.
What an idiot.
And everybody caught it. So, something is happening, not just among black people, but among victims of black violence who are just saying, "No, I don't think so. We don't have to lie about this anymore."
I realize, Colin, that this black violence is not going to end until black men and women get married and fathers and mothers raise their children, and the kids understand and respect authority by respecting their parents, especially their fathers. And if we can restore the family, this stuff will start to end sooner rather than later, because these kids have no respect for authority, and then they're being told from day one that it's the white man's fault. I just don't see how it's going to end if we don't restore families.
Is this the part where I rip off my microphone and storm off the set?
Yeah, that's right. Yelling and screaming.
Isn't it weird how you and I have to sit here and actually discuss the importance of the most important institution? I feel weird even like saying it.
I know it.
It's weird.
Tell the folks how to get your book.
Oh, it's easy to find at all the finer bookstores, but probably the easiest way to get it is through Amazon. Don't make the black kids angry. When I wrote White Girl Bleed a lot of people bought copies for their for their liberal brother-in-law, usually slamming it down in front of them, saying, "Read this, you blankety blank." I find that's also happening with this. Lots of footnotes, lots of links.
Yeah, and people also need to check out your YouTube. It is amazing.
People now send me these videos from all over the country, always asking the same. Colin, did you see this? Like this Memphis. When you see this Memphis video, or when you see the video of a judge, I put this up 2 days ago, of a black judge in Louisville calling a 3-year-old girl racist because she's afraid of black men because they were involved in a home invasion robbery and pointed a gun at her and her parents. The judge called her a racist. When you see that on video, that's pretty. That's like these are all eye openers.
Yeah. I know you're scheduled to be with us for the first 30 minutes here. I have some folks who want to talk to you. Do you have time to take a few calls?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, good. Let me take a quick break.
I'll clip my microphone back on. I was going to storm off, but
that's right.
I'm going to pull a Jesse on him.
I love it. We'll take a quick break and come back straight to the phones.
Trembling knees and waited for the worst.